Welcome back. Welcome to JW News. JW News around the world. Unfortunately, Ruby won't be here with us today, so I'm running solo, so you'll have to put up with me. So welcome to the show, whoever's on. It's interesting when we look at the watchtower and we follow the watchtower. It's amazing what comes out way in advance before Watchtower ever talks about it, even if their back doors are burning down. It just seems like they don't want to talk about it, and I don't know why. We ran 2 videos on the Watchtower wildfires, and we're going to look at that again through the eyes of, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we are. Okay, through the eyes of Watching Watchtower. So thank you to Watching Watchtower for bringing this to us. Now, they're also wondering the same thing. So let's see what they have to say, and then we'll actually take a look at a little bit of some of the news articles.
Further to this video, and update. Large wildfire near the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. Warwick issues update on Jennings Creek fire. Greenwood Lake. The fire is now 40% contained. For Friday, November 15th, Dwyer said the plan is to burn more fuel sources in a section of woods from Long Meadow.
Okay, so this is November 15th. What day is it today?
The
16th?
The 15th.
It is the 15th today? Well, how could this be from Friday, November 4? Oh, for Friday, November 15th. Because this article from Watching Watchtower came out yesterday on the 14th. And so anyways, let's carry on. I was just trying to get my dates right.
Road inward, impacting the area east of Sterling Forest from the Old Forge Road area south to Blue Lake. The Jennings Creek wildfire began on November 8 to 9, 2024. This is day 6 to 7. And still, Watchtower haven't said a single thing about it. Why? Let alone do anything to help. Despite having numerous properties, volunteers, and resources in the area. Again, residents may be hit by smoke, as another 1,000+ acres will have to be burned. For those adversely affected by the potential smoke conditions, the town said residents can go to the American Legion on Mountain Lakes Lane, which is being used as a temporary shelter staffed by the American Red Cross.
Interesting. The community has to go to this area because they're going to do a 1,000-acre burn and it's going to have a lot of smoke. So I wonder if Watchtower is affected if they have to go to that area. These are all questions everyone has regarding the Watchtower. I think this is the end of it, of this particular article. Okay, yeah, so I looked up Watching Watchtower. They're real good at doing attachments. So I looked up this one, Warwick issues updates on the Jennings Creek. And this was November 14th. And Watching Watchtower released their video on November 14th. And they're talking about it because that's yesterday. Today's the 15th. So they're saying this morning Warwick Town supervisor said the Jennings Creek fire at Greenwood Lake is now 40% contained. Power is also being restored to the East Shore Road. You wonder if Watchtower had to go without power. We're not sure. Maybe that's why they couldn't get a broadcast out on this. I'm not sure. Warwick, it goes on to talk about for Friday, that's today, Dwyer said the plan is to burn more fuel sources today in a section of woods from Long Meadows Road inward, impacting the area east of Sterling Forest from the old Forge Road area south to Blue Lake. Again, residents may be hit by smoke as another 1,000+ acres will have to be burned. You see, folks, the fire was only 500 acres to start with. So now they have to kind of go in and burn towards the fire to put it out. It's how they have to do it. Now the East Shore Road from 32 Edgemore to the entrance of Forest Knolls will remain closed for foreseeable future. And residents traveling to and from home for essential travel may go through that area. That's right in Watchtower's backyard, Warwick. Warwick Advisor. So it's quite interesting. We were talking about this morning, and we checked Watchtower, and Watchtower actually now today have put out a broadcast. We're going to look at that. My good wife says, we just collect the news, right? And Watchtower, they met the deadline for today on this topic, or else we'd be next Friday. So it wouldn't look good to Watchtower, but finally, here's what we have. If you go on to, where is this? Watchtower site. Yeah, okay, let's look at this. So it's under news on Watchtower. I'm going to add it to the stage here. Here's the news. You go to Watchtower News. And we haven't ran this report, but they have the Worldwide Service Year report in their news. And I did read through it. They're saying that there's about 8.8 million publishers that shared in the preaching, a 2.4% increase. And they said for the first time the peak number of publishers surpassed 9 million, with a total of 9,043,460,000. The heartwarming was the 43% increase in those who returned to Jehovah. So that looks good to Norway. People, out there, they're trying to make it look good. 65,000 who were reinstated out of 8 million. I don't know what percent that is. It's not 43% of their people. Maybe it's, 43% of the ones they disfellowshipped last year returned. I don't know. Because you see a lot of people that are disfellowshipped are still in the org heavily. They're just time out for now, and they're really working hard to get reinstated. Now you can get reinstated in 6 months, it sounds like. So they've changed the rules on that, so that's going to pull a lot of people in. Other increases that were announced included the following. A total of 296,000 were baptized, which represents 9.9 increase. You see, their numbers are vague, and they don't really show the countries. 9.9 increase. It'd be nice to see where that is, but they don't show it. I looked, couldn't find it. In the olden days, they used to publish what they'd call a yearbook, and the yearbook would show every country, and it would show the stats for every country. Watchtower quit showing the stats because they're embarrassed. They had a decline in a lot of areas. So now, of course, they changed their their disfellowshipping policy. Now they call it a removal policy, and they changed even the naming of it. They want people to forget about the past, about the way it was, and the way it is for a lot of us. We're still disfellowshipped, disassociated, removed. It's all the same stuff. And there's different levels of it. If you're out like me speaking out, you'll never get reinstated. You'll never, ever have a chance to talk with ones that are in that organization. They will shelter those ones in the organization. They will break all the biblical commands like honor your father, honor your mother. You'd think you'd be able to have a Thanksgiving dinner with your kids, but no. Watchtower shelters them in, and they tell my kids that I'm demonized. I'm apostate. Well, guess what, Watchtower? I am against your religion. I'm apostate. I don't follow it. That's why I left. It's nonsense. You got 3 men ruling me and telling me that I can't do certain things that I know I can. That's a cult. telltale signs of the cult. So a lot of us walk, and a lot of us speak out to help the world realize that this is, in fact, a cult. So it's easy to get into it. It looks good on the outside, but inside the cup, like Jesus says, it's full of all kinds of hidden things, hidden CSA files that are all shredded up. They want to forget about all the atrocities that happened because they built a bad elders book back then. Their elders book didn't address it. Their elders books told the little kids that they needed two witnesses, adults, to come forth and say this person's a pedophile. See, that'll never happen. So, of course, all these pedophiles walk, and this is a big problem for Watchtower now, but it'd be interesting to see real stats, where are their numbers coming from. So that's my challenge to Watchtower. I look at this report as bogus. I don't believe it. You see, I can't validate it. You see, Watchtower is not transparent. And if you look at charity status all over the world, they say that Watchtower is not transparent. They do not show the records, even to their own people. They don't show their bank accounts, where the donated money's going. How much of the donated money is going to CSA cover-ups, Watchtower? You see, these are all questions we have. So that's a little bit on the news for Watchtower. We go down, and there's a fire right behind Bethel. Wildfire blazes near the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses in New York. What day is it today? The 15th? This started on the 6th. This is really late news.
I noticed their story's dated the 13th, too.
And they predated it?
Well, no, it's dated for 2 days ago.
Oh, they dated this for 2 days ago. Yeah. It wasn't on here.
No, we've been watching.
It just showed up today. Here's the story. November 14th they dated it for. It came out today. So they dated it yesterday. Maybe it came out in the middle of the night. 1 in the morning. Their time. Okay, here's what Watchtower says. Wildfire blazes near world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses in New York, USA. On November 9th, 2024, a wildfire broke out approximately 2 kilometers, 1.2 miles. That's close. 2 kilometers, 1.2 miles. The way the crow flies, that's... Boy, a wind changes, it's on you in minutes. We were dealing with wildfires up here in Alberta, way bigger than this, and the winds are major, but that was close. 2 kilometers, and they did not say a thing. They kept quiet. It's interesting. Well, here they're, I guess they have to talk about it now, or they don't look good.
Larry actually brings up a good point, a good comment on your 2 witnesses thing.
Larry, technically there are 2 witnesses, no pun intended, to CSA, the perpetrator and the victim. You're correct. Yeah. You're correct. Absolutely. Isn't that interesting? But the perpetrator might say, no, I didn't do it. So that's what happens. Okay, so here's what Watchtower says. This slow-moving wildfire has already burned some 2,000 hectares, 5,000 acres of land. Local officials expect the fire threat to persist until the area receives significant rainfall. I did not realize it was that close. I'm glad they're being upfront about it. I guess the news is out, everyone knows. Currently, there is no imminent danger to various Bethel facilities in the area, including Warwick, the Ramapo construction site, and the broadcast studio nearby Tuxedo Park. However, our brothers are remaining vigilant and taking practical steps to protect the Bethel family along with the facilities. And Brother Luke Solando, who serves as a member of the the United States Branch Committee, pun intended, noted after the wildfire broke out, we immediately established a 24-hour watch at Warwick. Emergency response teams were assigned to clear away brush near the property, water down the green roofs on our buildings, and take our preventative measures. And we also encouraged the Warwick Bethel family members to have their emergency go bags ready and prepared to evacuate if necessary. Thankfully, however, there has been no call to evacuate thus far. Thank you, Watchtower. Thank you for that.
Just so you know, The World is a Stage appreciates how Vern was reading LOL. And I was just...
Well, how do you read this stuff, right?
Oh, it was really well done. Yay.
Okay, well, here we have a picture of several brothers watering down wooded areas on Warwick property as a preventative measure. Inset, a helicopter collecting water from the nearby Blue Lake to drop on the wildfire. So there the brothers are there, and we thought that we ran 2 broadcasts. We thought that they would be working on some kind of a perimeter. We had that in the comments, and we did report on that. I think right when it came out, didn't we?
Which one, sorry?
This fire. We reported on it pretty quick. Watchtower is on it quick.
He put the location together before anybody was talking about it yet.
So firefighters and emergency crews from surrounding areas are working tirelessly to contain the fire. Out of appreciation, several departments of Bethel are coordinating efforts to provide food, drinking water, and other supplies for those fighting the wildfire. Well, thank you, Bethel. That was Watchtower. That was something that a lot of us were wondering about, and what kind of involvement. It's good that this is all tabled, so we as the world appreciate hearing that. Now, Brother Solando added, and we thank these men and women for their hard work in behalf of us and our neighbors under these dangerous conditions. Okay, Brother Solando, that's good. And we will continue praying for Jehovah to provide practical wisdom and thinking ability to all those contending with this wildfire. Great report, Bethel. Watchtower, thank you. So they will, and it's great. You got to kind of, I don't know, our minds are funny. I was reading some of the comments when I was running these broadcasts. I ran 2 of them. I ran the original one and then an update, and a lot of people were commenting, and some were saying, well, first the earthquake, now the fire, what's next? This is really close. This would make you, if you've seen a wildfire in your backyard like that and you're the Watchtower, you're the only link to Jehovah God. Right? That's what they think.
Well,
they believe that.
That would be presumptuous.
Well, they believe that was fake. They believe the Jeffrey Jackson thing's fake now. They think that's all fake news. So, but anyways, that's going in your backyard, and at the change of a wind, it could take out the whole Watchtower. Change of a wind. A high-speed wind comes in, rolls in. You know that, right? So, obviously they were talking with the fire department, meteorologists, and so forth. But it's all in the back of your head. It went through a lot of the channel members. They made a lot of comments, if you read through them. Anyways, we don't want to exaggerate anything here on this news. We're just presenting the news, whether it's Watchtower news or other news that Watchtower people will never see. So that's the kind of news that we like to report on. But this is where the wildfire is. Today, it's at a very serious stage. Today the 15th, they're actually starting 1,000 acres on fire. They're back burning. So this is not done yet, folks. We'll keep you updated on this as things change. For sure next Friday we'll talk about this. Okay, we're going to move on to a new topic. And the new topic, The World is a Stage says it looks like hell is coming for the Watchtower. I wouldn't feel too comfortable if I was sleeping every night there, smoke rolling in your windows. You don't have a car, you work for Bethel. You're working for them. Really, you go to bed at night, I don't know what these people are under a lot of stress. The world doesn't even know. It's not out on jw.org, and you have this big fire in your backyard burning only 1.2 miles away. That's really close. World of a Stage says, what? A sign from God. Having the fire right there. LOL. That's what a lot of people have thought. What's going on. why, if this is
Jehovah's so pleased.
if this is the kingdom on earth, if they're pitching this as Jesus' kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, is it really like this in heaven? This looks like what it's like in hell. If you look at the picture, it's not like, this is the kingdom in heaven, because that's the Lord's Prayer, right? Our kingdom in heaven as it is on earth. No, something like that.
Can I just add too quickly, although we're kind of joking about it, a young man did die fighting this fire this past week.
Yeah.
So this is a very serious issue.
There's been a death already, a firefighter, a young 18-year-old that died fighting it.
They should have notified their people and got everybody out, really.
I don't run the show. They really have to work with the... I think all the people in that area are working with the fire department, so it's not where Watchtower saying, oh, we're infallible, God's with us, and any of that stuff. I'm sure that's not what it is. I know that's not what it is, in fact. They're working with the locals. They're just keeping quiet about it. That's the only thing. Watchtower is not very transparent about anything, but I do appreciate this report, Watchtower. I want to put that out there. This was a decent report.
This was the
Thank you.
picture that we were looking for this week.
Yeah, we wanted to confirm this. Thank you for helping us all to see the pressure.
How close it was.
Yeah, how close this is, and it could happen to any of us. We had a wildfire up here in Alberta, just a stone's throw away. It was 30 minutes away.
But the evacuation zone was not even a mile from our property all around.
Yeah, they were
That's how close it
evacuating
was.
like many miles around this. It was a bigger fire, of course.
Grass fires.
Grass fires. Okay, we're going to move on to a new topic. This topic is not so favorable for the Watchtower. This is about what's going on in New Zealand. I'm just going to play it, and then I'm going to read some of the articles. We're going to look over some of the articles, but we'll look at how Watchtower has put it.
Further to this video. New Zealand public apology to survivors of abuse in care, plus protest, including Jehovah's Witnesses. Network for Survivors of Abuse in Faith-Based Institutions New Zealand Aotearoa. New Zealand Herald, November 14, 2024, page 3. Abuse in care survivors seek meaningful redress and cultural restoration. Protester and advocate for survivors of abuse in care refused to watch NZ government apology, which was broadcast to survivors in Wellington at Shed 6.
Amazing how much money's being spent, $1 billion plus for the survivors waiting for the readdress scheme. So the state and the church, we're going to look at this article a bit here. They have denied and they have hidden the abuse, the state and the church. So the countries are taking responsibility.
Survivors
here.
of abuse in faith and state-based institutions seek meaningful redress that restores their cultural identity, following the New Zealand government's formal apology. Between 1950 and 1999, 250,000 children, young people, and adults were abused, the majority Maori and Pacifica survivors, including those who were deaf and disabled. They were stripped of their personhood, heritage, and culture.
And this was the
Pacific Waves.
indigenous people, I believe, of the country, in New Zealand and Australia as well. The indigenous people were affected a lot when colonialism came in, basically. But that's not too long ago, because they just quit this whole program up here in Canada. And up here in Canada, we had the residential school issue, another problem. Pardon me?
And those schools some ran into the 70s.
Yeah, some of these schools ran into the 70s, the 1970s, up here in Canada. And the residential schools were mainly ran by different religions. And there was all kinds of abuse. So this all had to be settled up here in Canada. Our Prime Minister Trudeau, he had to do a big apology. The Pope actually came up right past our place here, and they went to this lake out by our place. I did a video on this. If you ever want to see it, just go to my site and search Pope. And you'll see I was within 50 feet of the Pope. No kidding you. But he raced by in a car. I was on the gateway with cameras, and there was a whole lineup of his secret policemen, all the black vehicles, motorbikes. We videotaped it all to see how much money the Pope spends everywhere he goes. He has his own police force. They shut down highways. It was a big thing. It's huge. We're going to talk about the Catholic Church here in a bit, but not now. So I got off topic, sorry, got a little excited. So I'm going to let this run through, and we're going to talk about what's going on. But it's all tied in, folks, all over the world, Canada, all the Commonwealth countries. This is all coming out, and we have to listen to all this, and it's important.
November 12, 2024. Survivors of abuse want meaningful redress.
Survivors of abuse in faith and state-based institutions want meaningful redress that reinstates the cultural identity of survivors, following the New Zealand government's formal apology. Since 1950, hundreds of thousands of children, young people and adults have been abused in Aotearoa. The majority of them were Māori or Pasifika, many were deaf and disabled. They were stripped of their personhood, heritage and culture. Thousands of survivors and their whānau across the country watched on, following decades of waiting to hear the government of New Zealand take accountability for the abuse and harm which has impacted generations of people. Alicia Foon has more.
Abused, tortured and stripped of their identity, culture and language in state care. Survivors want real action alongside an independent redress system. In Wellington, as survivors watched the Prime Minister's apology, many sat with their heads in their hands, sobbing. Others shouted out in anger and frustration. Between 1950 and 1999, an estimated 200,000 children, young people and vulnerable adults were abused and many more neglected. At least 80% of survivors were Māori. Shannon Martin from Masterton was abused in state care from age 3. He says it propelled him into a life of crime, perpetuating cycles of trauma until he had the courage to heal and face it. Matua Martin hopes a redress system, which the government has proposed to set up by next year, takes cultural heritage into account.
Our cultural identity needs to be acknowledged on this healing journey. It does. My healing journey was hard because I was put back in front of people that looked like my abuser. And they're telling you to sit there and give them these answers, and it was the hardest bloody journey of my life.
Francis Tangaloa suffered sexual and emotional abuse by a Marist brother during the 1970s and has been waiting 22 years for a meaningful apology.
I would love to be able to have an ifunga, which is extending forgiveness, but also the perpetrators, which would be the church and state, coming and asking for forgiveness through the ifunga traditional way of reconciliation.
She says cultural heritage must be honoured for healing to happen in a way that's meaningful to each person.
It has to have a Pasifika pathway and a Te Ao Māori pathway to be able to address the cultural concerns in a cultural, appropriate and meaningful way. Otherwise, for Pasifika or for Māori, it's not meaningful if they're not putting it into the context of the culture.
Jim Goodwin is a survivor of faith-based abuse at Christ College. He told RNZ as a Pākehā, he recognises the system failed Pacific and Māori survivors. A wrong, he says, must be put right.
The system that these people were put in was a Pākehā system. It didn't even work for Pākehā. And Māori and Pasifika people were taken away from their whānau, away from their culture, and put in a very bad version of Pākehā culture. So part of the recovery for those groups of people is reconnection with their culture and reconnection with their whānau.
Matua Martin says the government has over 100 recommendations to implement, but he'd like more funding for Māori and Pacific Health Services.
So that we're able to heal our own. A Pākehā trying to heal the Māori, it doesn't seem to work. And there's a good reflection of our history, shows that. I just think, Māori for Māori and Pacifica for Pacifica, because we all know each other. Hey, we know each other's maunga, waka, our Pākehā whānau don't know. And it's okay, it's not their fault. We get on top of it.
Survivors say that without action, the government's apology is empty.
Better shut this off before I get a copyright on that music. Okay, thank you for that, watching Watchtower. We're going to look at, now for any of you out there, I think everyone knows what's going on in New Zealand, Australia. Australia started this with the ARC, they called it. ARC, the Australian Commission. What does it stand for, the ARC?
Australian Royal Commission.
Australian Royal Commission. They started the ARC. Jehovah's Witnesses are case number 29. If you ever search that, we've ran lots of videos. Everyone has. So this is bringing us up to date. This is what's happening now with all of this. It's being pushed through the government. They want apologies. Jehovah's Witnesses are in there. They have a case number. They got to put their money where their mouth is. Abuse and care survivors seek meaningful readdress and cultural restoration. This is what's going on. You heard it in the broadcast. Go ahead.
Can you mute for just 1 second?
Yeah, just give me a second here, please. Well, you'll have to stick with us for the end of the show. There's some breaking news that just unveiled. Okay, we can't say where it's coming from, but we have some news. Okay, thank you to everyone out there who's watching the channel and sharing the news. If you want to share the news, I think I should put up my banner. Do I have it here? Did I make a banner? I make stuff on the fly. It's not a big deal. I can make one. Okay, here's the email. I'm going to make it right now. Which email? Mail. And it's kind of a strange email address.
It's a good one. XJW.
Dot
TV. That's it. Super easy.
And I'm going to scroll this across the bottom. And I'm going to add it right there. Add it. No? Add it. It works. Okay, you see we can do things on the fly.
Nice.
So I'll let that run for a bit. And for all of you guys out there, that's our email if you want to contact us with news. So what's going on here in New Zealand is very interesting to the whole world because the survivors are all getting old. And they want to hear an apology. And if you look in the Bible, we're commanded to apologize to our brothers and sisters. And these are brothers and sisters of religious organizations that have been abused by elders, ministerial servants, and just people in the religion. Because I don't know why, because they're pedophiles. They need help. They need outside help. You see, the Watchtower doesn't have a program for helping them. And obviously this is a problem in all the religions. Now, this is another article. RNZ has been carrying it. Survivor of abuse calls for meaningful Catholic Church apology. So it's not just the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's they're going after everyone, and they have to apologize. But here's the big thing. What comes with an apology, everyone?
Money?
Money. Because when you apologize, you're admitting, yeah, we had a problem in our elders book.
Liability.
We had liability.
Yeah.
And we had people, things happening. We agree. We have we have to apologize. You see, that hasn't happened yet for Jehovah's Witnesses. Apparently here with the Catholic Church it hasn't happened. But this is going to have to happen in every country around the world. The Catholic Church had to apologize up here. The Pope came up and apologized up here in Canada. So we'll see what happens, what the Catholic Church does. We're going to talk about the Catholic Church in a bit here. But here's another one. Put your money where your mouth is, survivors say to the state apology. So this, I was going to run this, but we already ran the longer audio, so we won't run that one. And it was a big deal. New Zealand has formally apologized for abuse and care as the government finally said sorry to 200,000 victims of its abusers. So the government has said sorry, and now I guess they want the religions to step up to the plate. Glenn McConnell spoke to the survivors who gathered for the apology. So that's a big thing. For the past 24 hours, he'd been running between Parliament and Shed 6, another venue for survivors. They've been running back and forth. Big deal. Big things going on there. Okay, well, that's great on New Zealand. Things are moving forward. Now it's the religions. So now that the governments have apologized, they've taken accountability for their failure. What was their failure? Well, trusting the Bible, I guess. I don't know. Trusting religions? That was their failure. Trusting religions to do a job, work together with them, and they don't, now we have to deal with all this abuse. Various abuses. Okay, well, we're going to move forward. This is another article. Abuse survivors petition the Parliament to accept all Royal Commission recommendations. So now it's the government has to accept. What are they going to accept? What are they going to do? So this is a big deal, what's happening right now. While the government has broadly accepted the Royal Commission's findings, it was still working through the 138 recommendations, in addition to the 95 from 2021, the interim readdress report. You remember, folks, Jehovah's Witnesses were suing them for releasing this report on them. They wanted it early, and they said no. We ran some news on that. Isn't that correct?
On what side?
The Jehovah's Witnesses were suing to get this report early.
Oh yeah. They tried several times,
Yeah.
and then finally got booted.
The court said no.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a big deal down in Australia, New Zealand, especially New Zealand. The next article is, we did Warwick, wildfire. And what's this one? Jehovah's Witnesses, foster care and adoption. I have not seen this one. I just flagged it. I'm going to throw it up. Let's look at it together.
Jehovah's adoption. Jehovah's foster care. European Court of Human Rights. Judgment. Lost versus France, sexual abuse of a child placed in foster care and failure to comply with religious neutrality clause. This document is available only in PDF format. Click here to download it. Jehovah's foster care.
So far, I'm looking at that. Everyone has the right and freedom of to believe what they want, right? That's right in the human rights. Let's go back here a bit. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. And this right includes freedom to change his religion or belief of freedom. You see, for a lot of us that want to change our we were Jehovah's Witness, and we want to change our religion, we should be able to change our beliefs without consequences. Without consequences, and you cannot. And this is a big thing. Article 9 of the Convention, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. We're using the very same argument that they're using against the whole world. The one that Jehovah's Witnesses use all the time. Let's use that same article against them. Because you cannot leave their religion without consequences. Without losing your whole family. You can never have a Thanksgiving dinner again, ever again. As long as they stay in that religion. That's a fact. You can't have Thanksgiving dinner with an apostate.
Well, do they have Thanksgiving dinner?
No,
Okay.
they don't even celebrate Thanksgiving dinner. But I use that as an example.
Yeah, no,
they don't even celebrate Thanksgiving dinner, but you couldn't even get together for whatever reason. They've taken away Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's, everything else.
anything that has joy.
Anything that has joy. But let's read this together, folks. Article 9. Number 1. Everyone has a right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief in freedom, either alone or in a community with others, in a public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. So if you wanted to follow a new belief system called love, what Jesus kind of promoted, if you want to follow that, love of neighbor and things like that, and you're finding that you're not finding that in the Jehovah's Witness congregation because the blood doctrine is really about death over life, it just doesn't make sense to a lot of us. So we want to walk. What happens? You can't. And if you advocate that you don't believe in the blood for this and that reason, you become an apostate. You become the devil. And that's what they say to their people. So it's serious. They break number 1. They just break it all to hell. Number 2, freedom to manifest one's religion or belief shall be subject only to such limitations as are prescribed by law and are necessary in a democratic society in the interests of public safety. So when I leave that religion, just because I don't believe in the blood doctrine, it matches everything here. It's not breaking the law, the public law. I'm not breaking speed limits or anything like that. I'm still in the democratic society, and I'm very much in the interest of public safety because I believe in life over death.
Like even if you leave a religion and no longer believe in God, that is a new religious belief. You don't have a belief. That's also protected.
There's a good point my good wife said. If you leave a religion and you no longer believe in God, that is a belief in itself.
Yeah.
And this protects you.
Yeah.
The Article 9 protects you. The freedom to manifest one's religion or belief shall be subject only to such limitations as laws in a democratic society, as long as you're not breaking democratic society laws. That's all. Mm-hmm. So that's an easy one. There's no ex-Jehovah's Witness breaking those laws. Well, some might, but a lot of us just leave because we're tired of the control. We realize it's a cult. Let's just call a spade a shovel. That's what it is. Now, for the protection of public order, health, morals, or the protection of rights and freedoms of others. In fact, we're leaving the cult for these very reasons, for the protection and freedoms of others. That's why we're leaving the cult. That's why we're advocates of doing what we're doing right now. So great job watching Watchtower. Let's move forward. You have some other stuff here you're going to tell us about. It's foster care. Let's see what they're saying here. I guess I could be reading this. So you guys got all that? There's some foster care things. I don't know if these are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses or not. So let's just see if... it says how to find the court case against the Watchtower in New York. It doesn't say much more. Foster care and adoption. So there's something going on there. Not sure. Okay, well, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. See what it's pertaining to. There. Okay, so the next piece of news I have is Twitter. Twitter, what do we have here? Okay, so we ran this one. This was an interesting one regarding Norway and the road ahead. Now, let's see if I didn't really look. This is brand new. Okay, yeah, that's the Reddit one.
Well, that's a brand new one.
But
from
this is a new one?
Frode Nielsen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that regarding Norway.
This is regarding Norway.
Yeah, Frode Commode is Jan Frode Nielsen.
Okay, Frode Commode is Jan Frode Nielsen
yeah.
from Norway.
Right on.
And he's the one. So let's read this together. He says, I wrote this almost 2 years ago. It has proven to be correct, but we're a little behind schedule and time. In March 2023, I testified in court for the first time, and that was an injunction case based on point 8 and 9 and 10 on this. And we won this case, and that resulted in the reversal of their pretend victory mentioned in point 7, first win. And then in January of 2024, the main court case in first level went. I testified for the second time, together with a whole bunch of strong ex-JW women that I'm proud to call my friends. We won again. Second win. Easy peasy. I included my Facebook statements from those moments in my life, but OFC.
Of course.
Of course. I don't get all the abbreviations. My wife does. Okay, so he says, I included my Facebook statements from those moments in my life, but of course, be careful pressing if you depend on privacy and being anonymously. So, of course, as predicted, Watchtower appealed this decision, see point 12 on that list. And he did. Nielsen predicted this. Yeah. He said that's what's going to happen. And he says, so now we're getting ready for point 13 on my list.
Which is the Human Rights Court.
The Human Rights Court. The court has been set for 2 weeks, the 2 first weeks in February 2025. This will again happen in Oslo, but this time on the next level, the appeal court, where we will face 3 judges and even more attention. As you can see, we're a little behind my prophecy schedule, but it's right around the corner. For sure, not like the other guys.
Any day now.
Thumbs up.
Oh, way to go.
So this is where we are now. We're in preparations. We're gathering all the pieces together. We're getting ready to sharpen our pencils, start writing essays, and strengthen our nerves before we team up and go into court again. Ready to win for the 3rd time?
Wow.
That's not a question. He says we're ready to win for the 3rd time. Right. And I think it's important. I'm gonna play my manifestation song. I haven't played that in a while, but it's important. This manifestation, these thoughts. What we're asking for is justice. We're not asking for anything outside the democratic law. We're asking for this organization to be more in line with the democratic law of the world, the laws that they use to fight for their freedoms of religion. We're asking, just like we read, we're asking them to respect us when we leave that religion. And if people choose to stay in it, if my kids choose to stay in it, big deal. But it should not stop us from getting together and having a meal together, or going to a movie, or playing soccer, or going fishing, or on Father's or Mother's Day, or any of those things. That's what we're fighting. That's the freedoms of these countries that we enjoy. And those freedoms have been stripped from all ex-JWs worldwide. And from the JWs inside, from the children inside. It's stripped from them as well. Not because they really want to, because they want to be obedient to those 11 men in New York. That's all. That's all. It's a cult. That's why we're here. So Fran says, so this is where we are now. We're in preparations. We're gathering all the pieces. We're getting ready to sharpen our pencils. Start writing essays, strengthening our nerves before we team up and go in. And we're ready for the third win. And if you need more information, try to look through my post history. This whole mess started back in 2019. So make sure to scroll far enough or just ask your question below. And I'll try to answer them. And for in-depth resumes of the last trial, read this article and get familiar with the brave women winning the last time. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jan Frode Nielsen
right on.
From Norway. And I'm going to pin this to the news, this Reddit, and all you have to do is click this Reddit, and you can get all the links to all the stories and follow the story.
And read the whole story.
And you can read the whole stories.
Yeah. These guys are doing amazing things.
These guys are doing an amazing thing for the whole world.
Yeah,
they're fighting for all of us ex-JWs around the world.
Yeah.
So how you can honor Frode Commode is you go on there, read the stories, make them a comment, give them a like.
And I think you have to say you hit that up arrow. See that?
This up arrow right there?
Yeah, do that.
So you hit the up
there you
arrow.
Go. So that's called an upvote.
And that's called an upvote. You see? I'm learning. We can all learn together, can't we? And then we can take this, and I could share this, right? I could share this? Can I?
I think so.
Says I can share it. Well, I can copy the link right here.
So there you go. We'll post.
So I'll post that link after the show.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Frode Commode. I like the name. Yeah. Okay, the next article we're going to move into, I think, is...
you were on Twitter.
I was on Twitter. Yeah. Just got through the first one. Luke Evans appears on the Chris Evans Breakfast Show. Everyone knows who Luke Evans is. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness actor. He's been in a lot of famous shows. Was he in the Star Wars shows or something?
I think he actually... I don't know. Maybe. Not sure.
No, that's Luke Skywalker. Anyways, excuse my Canadian. I'm not going to blame it on Canadians.
No, don't.
Excuse my Vernism.
There we go.
Okay, then I'm going to move quickly past that. We probably could run a video on there, but Luke Evans, he's came out with his memoir, and I was thinking of actually making a little video on it, but has anybody yet? Someone should. But he grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and it was horrible for this guy. Horrible. So he's this old, he's a famous actor, and he's finally let the world know what happened. And you know what I think's interesting is all things are hidden, everything will be revealed. It's happening. There's so much going on out there with Jehovah's Witnesses. It's no wonder he's comfortable talking about it, because everyone's talking about it. And we're going to look at this a little bit further, how everyone's talking about it. Now, the next one here is for immediate release. This is Dr. Marvin James Penton.
That's on his bed.
And he passed away.
I believe this is a statement from the witnesses, which is interesting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, this is their statement.
So this is the Jehovah's Witnesses. This says avoid Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, they're sharing it.
10 years revealing the secret for immediate release. Dr. Penton, it's with deep sadness that we announce the passing of Dr. Marvin James Penton. I think that's from Avoid.
It's from Avoid. Look who signed it at the bottom.
Yeah, so Avoid JW.
So here's good information.
Okay, so that's great. James Penton wrote some books. He was a historian. Just to tell you a little bit what I know about James Penton, he's in Alberta, the same province I live in Canada here. He's at the southern part of the province, Lethbridge. At the time, I was just learning the Jehovah's Witness doctrines in the early 80s. He was having a big fight with the Watchtower. He wanted to... He couldn't see why there was anything wrong with his son going to university.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
he's a professor in university, wrote books and writing for the Watchtower, using his
Right.
profession to help the Watchtower. Here he's doing all this, and now his son wants to follow his father and go to university. And what did you say, hon?
he was a historian.
A historian?
And he had issues when he started doing the history on the Watchtower
Oh.
and the date, that 607.
Oh, yeah. So he had issues with the 607 dates of the Watchtower when... He's a historian, so he has to do the dates. Just excuse me for a second. I'm going to turn the furnace off. Typically, StreamYard cancels out background noise, but if you hear the background noise, it will disappear here shortly. So, okay, so what do we have here? What double standard? I don't know. Exactly, how dare that furnace interrupt this broadcast? Okay, Yvonne says they're totally focused on their human rights, but the human rights come with the duty to respect others' rights. Exactly. Okay, yeah, we're all on the same page. Now let's move on here, see what else is in this Twitter feed. The concept of virginity, I don't know what that was about. Larchwood said you can tell he works for an organization which is very properly focused, and I also knew that the earth would be converted into a paradise. I don't know what that one is. That's what Larchwood posted. Larchwood says an exquisitely tanned and seated Jarrett Loesch in the governing body update. Yeah, he was really tanned. I thought he was tanned. Very tanned. Maybe he was in another country or something. It's almost like he painted that orange stuff on. You notice his forehead here? You see the paint line? Is that paint on? Come on. You know, you can get those paint on tans, eh? Let me see if I can zoom it up. No, I can't. Okay, well, I can see a line. You see where my cursor is? There's a line. It's like he paintbrushed it in, and then up around the forehead here, he didn't get that orange paint up there. That completely looks like a painted on tan. Now, I know every Jehovah's Witness is going to say that it's photoshopped from our end, but that's just a picture off the Watchtower. We could probably go find it. Okay. Funny enough, his fellow new GB members, Jody Jadel doesn't mention anything about his property experience. Everyone knows that Jody Jadel has a lot of property. He just 28 days ago, or before he was anointed as a governing body, he had to fight a civil suit because someone didn't pay their rent in one of the apartments or rentals. We ran a bit of a news on that, I think, one Friday. But he has a lot of property, this Jody Jadel, and he certainly hasn't taken the thing of poverty. What are they supposed to take, an oath of poverty or something? This guy's just floating on millions, this Jody Jadel. He's really good at real estate, so that's probably why they want him in there. And they probably said, you don't have to take an oath of poverty. We can make special rules for you, Jody, long as you help us. We help you, you help us. We bend the rules a bit, Jody. Don't tell anybody, though. Shh. Oh, shoot, Stephen Lett. He has more property than all of us. Oh, well, David Loesch. Loesch, do you have property? No, I have an orange tan. I painted it on. Okay, there's the paint marks. You see his tan mark? There's where he painted it on. This is a paint on tan. Oh, well, it's not as good as his. Anyways, maybe he wants to look like him.
That's funny.
That's kind of funny, eh? An exquisite tanned and seated Jarrett Loesch. It's a painted on tan. That's not a real tan. That's a painted on tan. You see? And that's a painted on tan. Look at it. Everyone can see the marks there. Like, come on. He should have painted it right into his hair a bit there. And it could have been believable. And then he missed his ears a bit there.
Or he was wearing a hat.
Or he was wearing a hat.
That was in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Like,
Okay,
it's
well.
a possibility.
Okay, well, let's not rule that out. He was in the Bahamas wearing a hat like I wear.
Yeah.
And if I wore a hat down there, you'd see kind of a line. Okay, we'll give you that.
How they'd see.
And what about the neck? Was he wearing a turtleneck in the Bahamas? Because look at his neck.
Yeah, but look at how much his chin shades his neck. It's hard to tell.
Well, it looks like there's some neck that's white, neck whiteness.
Well, that's the kind of tan you get when you wear a collared shirt.
Oh, so he wore a collared shirt in the Bahamas because he's a governing body.
This is like a GB farmer's tan.
Okay, so that's a governing body tan. They have to wear. They can wear a hat. They can cover everything up. They have their ties. Okay, fair enough. What about Trump's tan then? We don't want to comment.
No, we're not going to go there.
Okay, everyone's always finds everything, right? Martin Haw.
But that's it.
My son Sam would have turned 22 today.
Of course. That was from last week.
That was from last week.
Yeah,
okay.
You're caught up.
Okay, so I'm caught up on my Twitter feed. And this one topic got me thinking. If Luke Evans felt good enough to come out now and talk about what it was like to be a Jehovah's Witness, he's a movie star. And we're going to read an article on him coming up. I'm going to work on that just to give him some credence as an individual in the XJW community. Because he's not just because he's a movie star, but because he's a person that's went through a lot of trauma, and his story is very interesting, how he became a movie star and how he left the Jehovah's Witness religion. So that's a story in itself. I wanted to know, what is the whole world thinking about things? So we asked Reddit, that came up regarding Norway and the road ahead. So this was the one we read, Frode's. I went to the AI. You can go to the AI. Google is now testing an AI thing. So I asked about OSCE, and this was thanks to someone in our post. Some of the channel members posted this and told us to check this out. An OSCE link to the UN and Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what I asked AI to see what they'd say. This is what the world thinks. Well, it says the OSCE and the United Nations, the UN, have both been involved with Jehovah's Witnesses in a number of ways, including freedom of religion. The OSCE and the UN have both affirmed the importance of freedom of religion and belief, which includes the right to practice one's religion in public or private and individually or in a community. So you see, we can fight this as XJWs as well. The very same thing that they're fighting for Jehovah's Witnesses, we're not getting those freedoms as XJWs. We don't have the freedom to practice our own beliefs outside of them. We become shunned, removed, disassociated, or disfellowshipped, however you want to slice it. Now, the OSCE has also commented on the situation of Jehovah's Witnesses in the OSCE region, including concerns about restrictions on the right to practice their faith. See, Jehovah's Witnesses are using OSCE as a channel to get their message out to the UN because it's so closely linked. And why? Because they're banned in a lot of countries. We're going to look at that in a bit. Now, the UN association with Watchtower, the New York Corporation of the Watchtower Witnesses, was associated with the UN Department of Public Information, UN and DPI, as a non-government organization, an NGO, in 1992. However, the Watchtower Society requested to terminate the association in 2001. And remember, we just ran that article when The Guardian exposed them. And it was one of our channel members, I forget his name now. He said, I actually wrote the article for The Guardian And he worked with the reporter on this whole thing in 2001. So it was quite interesting. I did not know the whole story, so I brought that up and we kind of caught up. And there's a big involvement. So AI knows that. AI reads everything. It's interesting. Watchtower can't hide. Just go in and ask AI any question you want about Watchtower. It'll go in and dig it all up, give you all the references. Now, it says, and the UNDPI disassociated the organization. Yeah, in 2001, The Guardian ran an article that cost Watchtower $1 billion, and they lost 10,000 members that year. It was put out on the 8th of the month, and by the 15th of the month, just a few days later, they canceled their association. Like just within a week, less than a week. Okay, so the next is the Human Rights Committee. Jehovah's Witnesses have appealed to the UN Human Rights Committee about sanctions against their members' activities. For example, between 2013 and 2016, Jehovah's Witnesses submitted 48 appeals to the committee about punishments for sharing their faith. So there's a lot of countries, a lot of places around the world that do not want the Jehovah's Witness religion into their country. They feel it's a virus. They feel it's not going to help their people. They feel it's going to cost them. Jehovah's Witnesses are very litigious. As soon as you deal with them not properly on blood and other things, they're suing you. They have you in court for years upon years, and they sue governments. So there's a lot. It's no wonder that there's a lot of countries that just does not want the religion in their country. So they're always going to appeal. We read one of those 72 letters with Lebanon. There's Christian religions in a lot of these Muslim countries, but most Muslim countries do not want Jehovah's Witnesses in them. Now, the OSCE, Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, in 2017, Armenia's Minister of Justice requested an opinion from the OSCE Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights on a draft law on freedom of conscience and religious organizations. And Jehovah's Witnesses in Armenia provided comments on the draft law, and the joint review was published in 2018. I didn't know about that. You can't hide Jehovah's Witnesses. All you got to do is ask AI a few questions. They're linked. So whoever put that in the comments, OSCE, yes, they're linked. They're having a lot to do with them. We could get into it more, but I should probably get rid of my banner.
Let's go down,
I'll get rid of that.
Let's go into comments, and if you just go down, Culty left a good one. Oh, you're way up.
Oh, I'm way up there.
You're way up. This one. There you go.
Okay,
that ties
so
right into what you're talking about.
And this is the League of the UN, the Operation for the Security and Cooperation in Europe, that the EAJW operates through. So yes, Culty actually linked us onto this OSCE, and we found it on our Discord. Thanks for that, Culty Talk, for sharing that. So there's more that we don't know about the Watchtower and how it's linked. But yeah, AI, it tells you. Okay, Quora. The OSCE in its charter defined itself as an organization for political and military influence. So why are Jehovah's Witnesses participating in this if they claim to be no part of the world? Good question from Sergio Seymour Batashian. Oh, what a name. It's a good name. Just hard for me to pronounce. Hard for a Canadian to pronounce. Okay, so yeah, the members of the OSCE are currently in 57 countries. And there are also 11 countries considered partners for cooperation. None of them is Jehovah's Witness land, if you allow me to joke. Jehovah's Witnesses report violations of our religious freedoms to the OSCE, trying to get relief to those of our brothers and sisters that are suffering religious persecution, but we are not members. Good points. We're not members. So why are we working through them, right? It seems like the Watchtower will hop on the back of the wild beast if it has to get what it wants. You know, if it can get the beast to get him into countries, right? The wild beast. That's what they call the UN. All these organizations. There's just different heads of the wild beast. But they jump onto the wild beast if they can, and they'll use it. That's what we're finding out once we're on the outside. You'd never know this on the inside from reading the Revelation book. You'd never know that. The beast is wicked and no part of the world, or 1 John 5:19, the whole world's lying in the power of the wicked one, the governments, and blah, 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 blah. So they never talk about Romans 13:1, where God's working through the governments for good. So when it comes to bad things that the org covers up, hides, CSA cover-ups and things like that, has it ever dawned on them that maybe they could be working against God when they go to court to cover this stuff up? I believe that for all the religions, Catholics, all of them, that are covering anything up. Everything hidden will be revealed. Okay, the next one, it was a subject that came up in Discord, is the Catholic Church and healthcare. So what's the Catholic Church doing in healthcare? What do Jehovah's Witnesses do in healthcare? These cups are really good, eh? Not to brag about them, but they're on our website. They're a little pricey, $26, I've seen. But they're stainless steel, and they have a coating on them. They don't get hot. Have you ever had a stainless steel cup you pour something real hot in and you can't touch it? This has an enamel on it that does not get hot, and if you put the lid on this thing, it stays hot all day. I take the lid off because it's just too hot. It holds the heat in so much, but you kind of want that. You're going on a trip. It's really a travel mug. If you're going on a trip, you want your coffee hot for a long time because you want to sip on it. At least that's what I do. Okay, well, that's enough advertising. You'll probably see a little more advertising on the news. I ran a midterm advertising with YouTube, so it allows us to create a little bit more revenue. And so thank you for putting up with the ads. But it does help us to support the channel. We have a few merch on some merch on it. The shirt should be advertising if it's done it right. I told it to advertise this shirt, and you can get lots of stuff on our YouTube store. Now, a lot of people thought, well, we have my good wife has a garage full of stuff, and she's getting this stuff out really quick. One of the people came on and said, "Yeah, that hat, your good wife, she got that out really quick." It's like we have a garage full of this stuff, right? That's not how it works. It's kind of like Amazon. They're just all authorized manufacturers' products. We choose the products. We build the designs, put them on the products. We work with YouTube. It's their store. And they tell us which vendors we can work with. So they've already pre-selected really good vendors. And for the most part, it's really good products. Okay, well, back to the news. Catholic Church and healthcare. What's going on? The Catholic Church is the world's largest non-government provider of healthcare, with a history of caring for sick that dates back to the early Christians. And the Catholic Church operates around 15,000 clinics. And folks, I'm not pushing the Catholic Church. I actually push no religions on this channel. But why we're talking about the Catholic Church is because it's, as a Jehovah's Witness, we thought the Catholic Church was the devil. Now, if you look at James, the last part of James 1 and 27, 28, 29, the counsel there is to look after orphans and widows. And we know that Jehovah's Witnesses do not do that. People leave Bethel, they're out on the street, there's no CCP, there's no retirement package for them that I know of. Unless you're a governing body member like, what's his name? The governing body that got the new house.
Oh, Tony.
Tony Morris. Yeah. Well, if you're a governing body member, maybe some of them will get houses. Maybe there are some apartments. We don't know that for sure. You see, Watchtower, again, is not transparent. You can't you can Google this stuff, and AI does not even know. So here's what AI tells us about the Catholic Church. It's the world's largest non-government provider of healthcare. It's the world's largest. Now, where I live in Canada here, there's a lot of hospitals that have Catholic names on the hospitals. And that's not because they own the hospitals or run them. They kind of run them maybe a bit. But anybody can work there. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses work at these Catholic hospitals. It's a fact. Jehovah's Witnesses also work at the Catholic School Board. That's a fact. And the husband of the lady that works at the Catholic School Board here in Edmonton is on all of the LDC committees, regional committees. He's the big shot out there in the Jehovah's Witness world. And she works for the Catholic School Board. You see, so they can mingle with Catholic. I guess like the common person like us, we're told, the rank and file, that you kind of can't. Like, okay, if she can work in the Catholic School Board, and you can work in the Catholic hospital, why can't I go to the Catholic Church when my brother gets married? He's a worldly guy, Catholic, right? Why can't I go there? Oh, well, it's a matter of conscience. But they make you feel like shit if you go. But then they say it's a matter of conscience. So it's all bullshit. And sorry for my French. I have no other better words to explain some of this stuff some days. Some days I do, but when I talk about that, that happened to me. I missed out on a lot of stuff because of this, because I was young and I just believed what people would tell me. It's so nonsense. But you look at the Catholic, the ones Jehovah's Witnesses have demonized. I'm not going to say, it's the governing body that prints the articles about the Catholic Church that they're so evil. Here's what they're doing. The Catholic Church operates around 18,000 clinics. They're transparent. They actually tell you. I actually looked online to see how many disaster relief things the Catholic Church was into. It was over 1,000. And they were right up front. They said, we take 5.36% of all donations. It goes to help with our overhead. They're right up front. You see, Watchtower takes it all. It all goes to worldwide work. It all goes to those 11 men. They control all of the money. That's wrong. You see, they don't want you donating to the cause any longer. We used to at one time. Watchtower changed that when they took over all the property. That was a hostile takeover not too long ago. Took over all the property, and now they can sell it at a whim. No one can do anything. Okay, well, the Catholic Church, they have 18,000 clinics, 16,000 homes for the elderly, and 5,500 hospitals. The Catholic health care focuses on palliative care, providing comprehensive support to patients to alleviate suffering, promoting human dignity, respecting, protecting, and serving every human life, caring for the poor and vulnerable, giving special attention to the healthcare needs of those in need, and promoting the common good, ensuring that healthcare services are available to the entire community. Religious and ethical beliefs, Catholic healthcare institutions do not provide medical assistance in dying made because they believe that intentionally ending a person's life contradicts the dignity of human life. Okay, and the history, the Catholic Church has been the central for caring for victims of epidemics, such as the plague in the 16th century Europe, cholera outbreaks in the 19th century United States. And the guidelines, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops establishes guidelines that governs what kinds of care Catholic hospitals can provide. Okay, that's what AI gave us. I'm going to give AI a thumbs up. I thought that was nice. Then I didn't have to read all this stuff, break it all down. They just got right to my question. They cite all the articles. I could go and dig it all up, all the articles that they pulled this all out of. But it's interesting. This is what the world is telling us about the Catholic Church and their healthcare system, or how they're involved, what they're using their donations for. You see, I guess why I'm talking about this is because if I plug in Jehovah, and I do this a lot, I probably do this too much, But if you're watching for the first time, I punch in Charity Canada and Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's see what comes up. Charity Canada. Did I get that right? And this is how it comes up. It comes up all over the world like this in different ways. But Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Canada, they get an X for transparency. They don't know anything. You see, when you plug in the Catholic Church, and I'll do that right now. Charity Canada. And Catholic Church. Let's see what comes up. All fairness. See, it comes up different. So when I plug in Jehovah's Witnesses, it comes up. Here's how it comes up in Canada. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. They get an X for financial transparency, F for reporting. Like, those are the lowest marks in school, kids. Lowest marks. That's complete failure. Like, that's throw you out of school. Like, throw you completely out. Like, redo the grade. That's what that tells me. Demonstrating impact, low. Like, the kid didn't even try in school. You know, it just didn't. Need for funding, there's no need. They have all kinds of cash. And they have no overhead. Everyone works for free. That's why 99% goes to the cause. You see, the Catholic Church comes out and says they have costs. Because people get paid there. And they should get paid. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't donate their time at the Catholic Church, hospital, or school board, right? And neither does anybody else. Everyone works there. Well, here's what happens. I just plugged in Catholic Church, same thing. It says top 100 charities. Read the full report. It's the 100 highest rated charity in Canada. Full detail. There's all kinds of stuff here on these guys. See, this is what they're reporting. There's all kinds of reports on them. Quebec, the Moisen Mission. That's probably what that means, mission or something. But they have a lot of stuff going on. Look at the list. They're still going down the list. It's all under the Catholic Church. All under the Catholic Church. So now, are we getting that same X mark? Why don't they show us the same thing as they did the Jehovah's Witnesses? They just said it's high. Top 100. Anyways, that's how it comes up. So what would you donate to? This one? You know, and everyone is on the internet nowadays. They should know where their money's going. So you're going to donate to this one, or you're going to donate to this one, right? This one is just getting a really hot, the highest report. Let's just look at it. I don't know. Should look at it, I guess. Oh, there it is. Came up pretty quick. Okay, so Charity Intelligence. They do a lot with animal welfare. I didn't know that. They help animals. The Humane Society. Education. They're helping. They have different schools. Environment. This is just here in Alberta, right? Looks like all just in my... That's what Google does a lot of times, pulls stuff up for your own area. So you guys are getting to see what I see here in Canada when I Google this stuff. So when you Google it in your area, and I advise you to Google it. See what happens in your area and see what comes up for your area. But this is what comes up here in Canada when we ask for Charity Intelligence Canada, Catholic Church. It's a big list of what they do. You see, this is a company that, and they're all companies, by the way, folks, these religions, they're all companies, but the Catholic Church is a company that shows the people where the money goes. Well, the Vatican doesn't show us where their money is. But you see, these are two different companies. Just like Watchtower has all these different companies, so does the Catholic. If you want to envelope the Catholic organization, they have a lot of different companies as well. And the Catholic organization that the people are donating to, whatever it's called, they know where their money's going. And here's the other thing, folks. I ran I'm just going to get this off the screen here. I ran a video not too long ago showing the Elders book. And I do that every Monday. I read the Elders book. And we were reading on disaster preparedness. And they're telling their people, I lost it because I read this stuff real time with you guys. I don't pre-read any of it. I'm too lazy, probably. But I just read it with you guys. And it's kind of more exciting too. But I came to this part where they told in the Elders book, the instructions are to the elders, if there's a disaster and people need food and water and there's no public kind of places to get it and there's churches that are giving out food and water, send the publishers to the churches long as they don't take their pamphlets. Long as they're government run, like the Catholics government run, right? And the Mormons would be government run. There's a lot of churches on ground zero with disasters that are putting their money out there. The donated money is going right there, ground zero, where you guys need it. When you're swimming in the water and you need a boat to get you out of the water, it might be the Catholics' boat or the Mormons' boat, and they might take you over to their tent and feed and water you and put clothing on you and put a blanket on you. You see, the elders are telling you that's okay. That's okay, because just don't take the pamphlet. That's what it says. I lost it on that video, reading the Elders book, but it was something. So anyways, I'm going to look up what you guys all been waiting for, the breaking news. Where is it here? Good wife, did you email it to me?
Yeah.
Is it this one? Right there? That one, right?
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Wow. You're kidding me. That's last night. Holy smokes. They're not really telling us half of it, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, folks. I can't tell you where this came from, but this is breaking news. We're going to go back to the Watchtower. Okay, so here's what the Watchtower is showing you guys. Right here. That's what the Watchtower is showing us, right? That's the fire. Okay, here's really what's going on. That's a big fire. Okay, we'll look at what Watchtower is showing us. It's kind of behind the hill. Right, it's way behind the hill.
Look, you can actually. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
On the next picture, you can actually see the fire line up on.
Oh, there's more pictures here.
No, that's it there.
Yeah.
But look at the.
Look at the fire line on the hill.
Ridge. You can actually see the fire there.
That's just like the ashes could be going through the air, landing on Bethel.
Oh yeah. Air quality's down.
Air quality's down. You'd wonder if why they're even there.
That's pretty spectacular.
Isn't that something, folks? Well, we're going to leave off. This is the end of the program, I think.
Thank you very much, you know who, for getting that to me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, you know who. Yeah. We love you all. We're going to end the program here. This is spectacular. This is something. Wow, what a shot, eh?
Hell is getting closer by the minute.
So this is today. Remember, they're burning 1,000 more acres. Maybe this was yesterday's picture. And maybe this is today's picture after they're burning the 1,000 more acres. Maybe they've chose to burn the 1,000 acres on the side of Bethel.
Yeah, they're back burning.
They're back burning toward Bethel. Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe they're thinking, hell is right there. I should take that back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
My apologies to anybody listening. But no, this is serious, folks. I'm concerned for the people at Bethel, like the air quality. Holy smokes. Well, anyways, folks, thanks again. Hey, I didn't say that. I wasn't the only one that said that. The World's a Stage said the same thing. Anyways, that's not what we're saying. Forest fires can happen in our backyard.
Absolutely. So everybody, stay safe out
stay
there.
safe.
Keep your heads
all
up.
of those people that are out there, yeah. And be careful with people. Some people call it karma. Reap what you sow, kind of law of attraction stuff. We don't want to put out bad energy, bad words when there's a disaster, right? that's the time that we want to. These are all if we're XJWs, we could have family members in there in that Bethel, right? We could be concerned about loved ones. Okay, well, thanks again, everyone. And what do I have to say? I don't know. I was going to say this. Remember, we were talking about manifestation, and I want to end up here. I want to end up here with the program, and I just have to find it here. Read it. I think that's it. Frode Commode, Jan Frode Nielsen from Norway, who spearheaded all the Norway stuff, and now his crew is going back to court. I'm going to pin this right after the show, but give me an hour. I usually have a coffee. Come back in an hour and you'll see all the pins. But this is about manifestation. Jan Frode Nielsen knows that. So here's my dedication to you. Now, here's what Watchtower says.
Set free from what? Set free from what? Paul says the slavery to the fear of death. Now, why is that significant? You see, people who are in fear of death are constantly afraid. As a result, they can be manipulated and controlled.
So that's true. Watchtower knows how to manipulate and control people. They use fear and death. And here's what we do. We bring things out and we manifest the truth. So to Jan Frode Nielsen, thank you very much. Well, that's to Jan Frode Nielsen. Manifestation. We just we think about it. We don't want to get angry, just sit there and be angry. We want to do something about it. So if you haven't yet done it, go to your Google Ads on your Kingdom Hall and write down your experience. Be honest. We did a survey on this channel. If you haven't seen it, we have a lot of people that did comment, and the survey is coming in at how many Kingdom Halls you've been through in your life as a JW. How many Kingdom Halls? Now that they're selling Kingdom Halls, it's forcing you to move to other Kingdom Halls. So we're interested to see what the number is. And then go back and give your Google experience at each Kingdom Hall. Be honest. You know, what I found when I went back to each Kingdom Hall and I talked about events, kind of, you know, in general, experiences or how I felt after spending 5 years at that Kingdom Hall. Why I left, you know, reasons, so people knew. All I seen was fluff, not honest comments, just people with 5 stars, no words. 5 stars, no words. Lots of JWs just commenting on their hall. And I think it's important that the world goes to Google and they say, I wonder what that Kingdom Hall is like. Even if you're an ex-JW or a JW, and we're ex-JWs and we put our comments in, it helps other JWs that want to join that particular congregation. Maybe that congregation has a bunch of elders that are really strict or really, I don't know, you know how you get all of these elders that are just self-righteous and pompous, or you get other congregations where the body of elders is really easygoing. You know, if you had a good experience, put the good experience in. Be honest. That's what we say. But anyways, any more news?
Look at the dashboard and see what that poll is ranking really quick before you say.
Oh yeah, we could take a look at that poll, I guess. Where do we get to it? On our
dashboard.
On our dashboard?
Yeah, your videos dashboard. There you go. And then down. Quick. And there it is.
Oh yeah. Could probably pull that up, eh? So here's the poll, the latest poll. How many Kingdom Halls have you moved into in your life? 1 to 3, 55%. 4 to 6, 29%. 7 to 10 Kingdom Halls, 13%. I was actually in the 7 to 10. I was in it for 30 years, moved around. Everybody moves around every 5 years. And 11 plus Kingdom Halls, 3%. And there were 16 comments on it.
231 people voted. Thank you.
231 voted. So thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to end the program here. Keep living your life with love. And we'll see you on the next video. Love always works.